Well, back today to sweatshirt weather. I don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on, but it did rain last night. It kind of felt like it was actually some sort of miracle that was happening. So today we get to do the all-important check of the rain gauge. One inch. If I don't spill it. With the little bit that I spilled, probably about 1.1 inches, maybe somewhere right around there. So I'll take that, not too bad. Definitely some much needed rain. A lot of people ask me about that rain gauge and what it is. It's a rain gauge that actually holds 11 inches. But what I also like about it there is that it goes down to the hundredth, so you get a better accurate reading if you don't spill. Also, not trying to jinx myself, but the worm castings have not been quite as bad recently. Obviously it's been dry, but usually after rain like that, all the worms kind of come up to the surface and you'll see a lot more castings, but that's a good sign that I don't see a ton of them over there. This tree, we're also gonna have to get one of these on the new property because I absolutely love it, especially right now when it just comes out in the spring with these leaves. Love the color of it. It changes different colors throughout the year, so it'll be kind of a red, and sometimes the leaves will change to more of a green through the middle of the summer, and sometimes it gets yellowish in the fall, sometimes a golden orange color. It is a royal frost birch, or a crimson birch, I believe is what it's called. So I need to let things dry out just a little bit today, and then I will be back, show you the mow after this, see what kind of results. I got some stuff to show you on the fescue. Something's going on with my spreader, or I messed up with it, I don't know. I will update you on that though as soon as this dries out and we're ready for another mow. So first things first today, I need to get some mower blades sharpened. It's one of those things you can neglect over time, but so a lot of people ask me if these mowers should really be tipped over, but that's actually the design on this one. The oil dipstick is over on that other side, and it's designed to be tipped over in order to change the oil. So you just want to make sure that you have the oil pointing down and you're not tipping it the opposite direction. Maybe you guys who've been watching for a while will remember the time that I couldn't find the tool needed to change out this actual grinding blade into a flap disc or something like that, and it was right here the whole time. Handy little design, but if you don't remember where it is, it doesn't work too well. So if you've never sharpened blades before, it's really not that difficult, but as soon as I found that flap disc method, it's been my go-to now for a couple years. It's really easy to do, pretty inexpensive to get a grinder and a flap disc, and you can just be a lot more precise with it. If you get a grinding wheel, it gets pretty aggressive pretty fast, so you're taking off quite a bit of metal. This is just easier for me. It's not as aggressive, and it seems to work really well. You can also more easily follow the angle of the blade, it feels like to me. So that's the method I go with. One thing I forgot to mention too is that I just have this little balancer to make sure the blades are somewhat in balance. I don't think that these things are absolutely the most scientific thing in the world, but at least I know it's somewhat close to being balanced. So this blade, I'm starting to notice there's a couple nicks in it here and there, a little more there and there. So as it starts to get worse, I'll probably replace these pretty soon. I'm pretty sure these are probably the originals that were on the mower, and I got an extra set, but I'm pretty sure this one was the original. So after I get those put on, I always like to check them with a regular wrench and just tighten them down. Just noticed I got rained on the other day, just a little when I was finishing up mowing. This thing is filthy. So here's where I stand on the fescue. Is it looking better? Yes, definitely. Let's do an update shot from the springtime damage that occurred and kind of show you how much progress has been made. But is it looking up to my standards at this point? No. Now you remember on Christmas Vacation where Ellen tells Clark that he set standards that no family event can ever live up to? That's me and my lawn. So yes, of course it looks decent, but it's not where I need it to be. And you can still see these damaged spots. So I know a lot of people coming out of winter will always say, oh, don't worry about any of your winter damage. It's just gonna go away. It'll fill in. Everything will be totally fine. But I think you can kind of see here that that's not quite always the case, depending on some varying factors. So I did put down some seed in those spots a while back, and it got really cold after that. We didn't have any rain. It looks like there's a period of time where there might be some rain actually consistently coming. Cross my fingers on that happening. So before that would happen, I would probably put down a little more seed into these spots. Try to kind of break up some of the hard, crusty soil that's on top of any of these bare spots, and then put down some seed before consistent rain. It needs to get warmer too. At night here, it's still been sometimes in the 30s. Part of that is all playing into it. Let me show you a weird thing that's going on also in the middle of this lawn. There's a distinct line right here, and then there's one right here where you can definitely tell that the spreader was either having a problem or I missed a couple of paths through here. As you can majorly tell in person with my eyes, you can majorly tell a difference in color where there was fertilizer, missed something, or something with the spreader was happening. So I show you the good and the bad here. I don't really know what happened, but consistency of fertilizer is very important to the lawn too. Then what you're also going to find in a few spots are some dog spots. So this would be obviously a spot that got a lot more centralized targeted fertilizer, and look at how full and much darker green. The grass wants to stand up better. So some maturity needs to happen in the rest of this, but that's what I'm going for the whole look. Let's take a look at the quality of cut from the sharpening of the blades. That looks pretty good. I just wanted to take a moment here too to congratulate my neighbor. His lawn is looking out of this world amazing. He's been putting in the time and the effort, consistently mowing, getting his fertilizer down, spoon feeding. Some of the best color, honestly, I have ever seen on a lawn. So I'm sitting here kind of like a proud parent today after our renovation last year, and him really being involved in wanting to push it forward, keep up with everything. So I want to show you that today and also congratulate him on how amazing it looks with all of his hard work. So the bluegrass section behind the fence is looking better. Remember that we put the cheap Menards fertilizer back here, then it got rained in with that rain, and the response is not looking too bad. There's a couple things though that are going on, and I know that I told you this is my minimal program, which it is in terms of fertilizer, but there's a couple things that I can't really let go. So one of the things that I need to do from last year's summer drought and also the winter time is remove some of this dead material that's in here. It's really inhibiting the grass from thriving. I'll show you these sections. It's going to be a separate video coming up, and I need to get it done soon so that minimal amount of stress that's going to be put on it from the process that I'm going to do is going to be able to recover before we get to intense heat. So same type of thing up here really. Looks good. It's not absolutely in prime condition yet. I got a little behind on my fertilizer. So I like to be kind of just steady going along. I don't like to be speeding along with fertilizer. I don't like to be too slow and being passed. I have no idea why I just made a car reference, but let's go with it. So it's definitely starting to get there, but just slightly behind on fertilizer right now. So I talked about this in my podcast last week with my co-host Ryan DeMay, and we were talking about texture in a lawn. I got a little bit fired up last week with all the lack of rainfall we've been having, not kind of being exactly on my program like I wanted to be, but I'm gonna show you a couple things what I mean by texture. So as we go back through here, of course I was rolling this, and I've been mowing and rolling many times now with the reel mower so far this year. But you'll notice a lot of little stragglers because of how much the reel mower rolls down and there's no suction. Now the other thing is that you won't really notice those little stragglers unless you kind of come in with your hand and brush the grass back up. So after it's rolled down, you're not going to notice this. But as you roll over it multiple times when you mow, you can kind of see that there's definitely grass blades that are laying down that haven't been cut. Some greens mowers will have a groomer on it. There's a system out in front of the actual blades so that once that front roller hits it, it's rolling it down, but then it pulls the grass back up, cuts it off cleanly with the reel, and then rolls it back down with the rear roller. I guess all of this is just to say, probably a system that I'm going to be going after in the future. Not right at this moment by any means, but as far as something that would brush it up and then be able to cut it a little cleaner, that's kind of what I would really love. And of course the other thing I'll be taking care of really soon, all these little patches of clover. So right before the rain the other day, I also put down an application of one of my favorite products from Simple Lawn that comes in my Simple Lawn Solution box. And that is the Lawn Energizer. It's a chelated micronutrient product with just a little bit of nitrogen there to kick it into gear as well. If you're interested in a hose end, just hook up a hose and spray type of product, then this is exactly what I use for a boost of extra color, or sometimes when I notice, because of my pH being high as well, I'm just not getting the color response that I need. This is a product that I would go after for that. The reason that I want to apply a chelated iron or micronutrient product is that I want to make sure that it's available to the plant so that whatever I'm putting down is going to be used by the plant. Now there's a lot of different granular fertilizers, there's a lot of different products out there that say they have iron in them or micronutrients in them, but you need to understand the forms of those. Not all iron is created equal, specifically when you're looking for greening. So if you see a product, let's take this Menards bag here, for example, it says it's derived from ferrous oxide. So that's the reason why I like using these chelated liquids, is that you can spray directly onto the plant. The plant's going to take that up, and what you want to apply to the lawn is going to actually be used. Well, so then you might say, well, why wouldn't everyone just put in chelated forms of iron into their product so that it's available to all the plants? So a lot of these fertilizers might go with different forms, like an oxide form that's just a lot cheaper to put in there. So that's kind of the reason why not all of the micronutrients are created equal. So I applied to all the front yard, except I didn't get the bluegrass done on the north side. So I'm gonna quickly put a little bit of this on there today, fill this thing back up. Well, that's it for today. More projects that I'm going to be filming this week will be coming out soon as well. So thanks so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.